Welcome everyone, I'm John from Agilit-e, and today I'm going to show you how to install the Microsoft Azure command line interface on your local environment. The Azure CLI is a brilliant tool when it comes to interfacing with various Microsoft Azure services in their cloud. And even though Microsoft does provide some sort of online shell that you can use via a browser, depending on your requirements, you will find that having the CLI locally installed is usually the preferred choice. So just a note before we install the CLI on our macOS environment, there's more than one way to install the Azure CLI, but the one that we definitely recommend and the one that we focus on in this tutorial is to install it via Homebrew. So there is a dependency when it comes to macOS, and that is you need to have Homebrew running. We have already created a video for this that you can find on our Agilit-e YouTube channel, and the video will be called Agilit-e Dev Environment Homebrew for macOS. I will be providing links to this as well wherever you're referencing this video from. So here I have my Mac VM running, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up Terminal. And in Terminal, as mentioned before, we do need Homebrew installed, so I just want to make sure that I have it installed by typing brew -- version. And we can see I do have a version of Homebrew installed. And what I'm going to do now is, in order to install the Azure CLI, the first thing that I do is I just perform a brew update so that we update the repo locally for Homebrew. And at the same time, we'll do an install of the Azure CLI. So it will be brew update and brew install Azure CLI. So this will take a moment to run depending on how many updates need to be performed, but it shouldn't be more than just a few, maybe 1 to 2 minutes. I'm going to pause the video over here and wait for the installation to complete, and I'll touch base with you shortly. Right, welcome back. So the installation is complete, and I want to check now if the Azure CLI was installed properly, and we do that by just checking the version, and the prefix of the Azure CLI is AZ. So if we just type AZ -- version, we should see the version of the Microsoft Azure CLI that was installed. There we go. Okay, so it's pumped a lot of information here for us, but the one that we're looking for is, there we go, Azure CLI version 2.0.66. Now what I do as a rule of thumb is I'm going to quit Terminal and I'm going to restart it. The reason for this is if something wasn't installed properly, usually and you test it inside Terminal, usually the prefix of the command only works while that terminal is open, and when you close Terminal, then for some reason it gets removed from a cache or from the path. So what I do by default is just restart Terminal, and I'll try again AZ -- version just to make sure that the Azure CLI was correctly added to the path of macOS. We are that much closer to interfacing with the Azure cloud. And that concludes our video today for installing the Azure CLI. Very, very simple process. So until next time, cheers.